still here, just staying quiet and waiting for that cue.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I hope you all are doing well. I am Sumera Wali from the platform of Rehan Artificial Intelligence Teacher Training Institute Level 1. Welcome to all of you in another exciting episode. Viewers, motivation is the driving force behind every goal, every achievement, and every success story. So today with Miles, I am going to discuss that understanding the psychology of motivation. So let's explore what motivates people, why motivation changes over time, and how we can stay inspired every day. So without delay, let's start our session. Welcome to the studio, Miles. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here in the studio. Motivation is a wild topic. Like, why do we suddenly feel like conquering the world at 2 a.m., but can't find the energy to fold laundry on a Tuesday? I'm stoked to dive into the psychology of it with you. Just lay it on me.
What is
I'm all set. Floor is yours.
motivation and why it is important in our daily lives? What do you think about it?
Wait, you said you were going to answer the question, but you just asked me. I'm down to tackle it though.
Okay,
To
but
me,
start with
motivation is basically the why.
yes.
Exactly. It's the spark. Without it, you're just a car in a garage with no gas. Looks great, but it's not going anywhere. Like it's what gets you out of bed when you'd rather just stay under the covers for another 3 hours. I think it's the difference between just existing and actually doing something with your time. Feel that?
You are absolutely right, Mal, that motivation gives us the energy to achieve our goals. So tell me that what is the difference between the intrinsic and the extrinsic motivation? Understanding both types help us to stay motivated in different situations. So kindly elaborate it for my viewers.
All right, let's break it down for the viewers. Think of it like this: intrinsic motivation is the fire inside you. It's when you do something because you actually love it, like a hobby you lose track of time doing, or learning something just because it's cool. The reward is the activity itself. You're doing it for the vibe, the passion, pure joy of it. Extrinsic motivation, on the other hand, is more like the carrot on the stick. You're doing it for something outside of yourself: a paycheck, a trophy, or even just avoiding getting yelled at by your boss. It's effective for getting things done, but it's not always the most sustainable fuel. Basically, one is I want to, and the other is I have to, or I want the prize. That's the gist of it. You think most people are driven by one more than the other?
You are absolutely right, Miles. Tell me that why do people sometimes lose motivation when even they have the clear goals? What's the reason behind that?
That's the $1 million question. Honestly, having a goal is one thing, but the path to get there is usually a mess. I think a lot of times it's because the goal is too big, like looking at the top of the mountain instead of the step right in front of you. It gets overwhelming, and your brain just decides to shut down to protect itself. Then there's the burnout factor. You go too hard at the start, run out of gas, and suddenly that goal feels like a chore rather than a dream. Or sometimes the goal was actually someone else's idea, and the internal spark just isn't there to keep it burning. It's like trying to run a marathon in shoes that don't fit. You might want the medal, but the process is just painful. And then there's the fear of actually getting there. Sounds weird, but some people subconsciously sabotage themselves because success brings a whole new set of pressures. Like, now that I've hit the goal, can I actually keep it up? It's a total head trip. You think that's a common thing, or is it mostly just the burnout side of things?
I completely agree with you, Miles, that identifying the causes help us to overcome them. Miles, I do believe that resilience is the key to a long-term success. So, how can we stay motivated during the difficult times or after failures? What is your opinion about that?
Resilience is everything. Um, it's basically the mental armor that keeps you in the game when everything's going sideways. My take: I think the biggest mistake people make is trying to force that high energy motivation when they're actually in the trenches. When you've just failed or you're hitting a wall, trying to be inspired can actually feel exhausting. I think the move is to lean on discipline and systems instead. Like, don't wait for the feeling of motivation to return. Just commit to the smallest possible win. If you can't run the marathon, just put on your shoes. You can't write the book, just write one sentence. Also, reframing failure as data is huge. Instead of I failed, it's more like, okay, that way it didn't work. Now I know why. turns a disaster into a lesson, which makes it way easier to get back up. Does that make sense, or does it sound too clinical?
That is a valuable insight, Miles. I really appreciate your concern. Miles, I do believe that the small, consistent actions create a big achievement. So, what do you think? How do the small goals we set in our life and daily habits help us to maintain the motivation?
It's all about the momentum. Setting a massive goal is like trying to jump to the roof of a building in one go. You're probably just going to hurt yourself. But small goals, those are like a staircase. Every time you hit a tiny milestone, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine, and that's basically the fuel that keeps you moving. It turns the whole process into a series of wins instead of one long, grueling slog. When you look back and see a trail of small victories, it proves to you that you're actually capable of doing the work, which builds a kind of confidence that big picture dreaming just can't touch. It's that one more step mentality, you know what I'm saying? Do you think people struggle more with setting those small goals or actually sticking to the habit?
That is an excellent explanation, Miles. My next question to you is that what role do positive thinking and self-belief play in motivation? And what do you think the things about the sleep, exercise, and nutrition are they affect motivation or not? What is your opinion about that?
You're hitting the whole spectrum here, starting with the mental side. Self belief is like the engine. If you don't believe you can actually hit the goal, your brain is just going to waste energy trying to protect you from failure. Positive thinking isn't about ignoring the bad stuff, but it's that voice that says, yeah, this is tough, but I've handled tough before. And as for the physical stuff, man, those aren't just extras, they're the actual hardware. You can have all the self belief in the world, but if you're running on 3 hours of sleep and a bag of chips, your brain is just going to be in survival mode. It's impossible to feel inspired when your body is literally screaming for a nap or some actual nutrients. Exercise is the same. It clears the mental fog and gets the blood moving, which basically primes your brain to actually focus. It's like trying to run high end software on a laptop with a dying battery and a cracked screen. You might get it to work, but it's going to be a struggle. Do you think people tend to ignore the physical side until they've already hit a wall?
I completely agree with you, Miles. How can teachers and parents motivate the students to join learning? Because engagement and the sport inspire lifelong learning. So, what do you think about it?
That's a huge responsibility right there. I think the biggest mistake is treating motivation like a lecture. You can't just tell a kid to be motivated. That's like telling someone to be hungry. It's just not how it works. The magic happens when you shift from teaching the subject to sparking the curiosity. Like instead of just giving them a formula, give them a puzzle that actually matters to their life. When a student feels like they're solving a real mystery or building something that actually works, they stop asking, why do I have to learn this? And start asking, how does this work? It's all about creating that aha moment. Parents and teachers who just lean on grades or using that carrot on the stick, extrinsic stuff we talked about, and it works for a while, but it doesn't create a lifelong learner. The real win is when the learning itself becomes a reward. Do you think the current school systems are too focused on the grades and not enough on the spark?
That is a great point, Miles. Tell me, please, what does role motivation play in developing like mindset, someone mindset, no? And do you think can motivation be developed, or it is something people can born with it? What is your opinion about that?
I'm a firm believer that it's developed. I mean, some people are obviously born with a bit more natural drive or a certain temperament, sure. But the idea that you're just born with a growth mindset or you're not, that's a dead end. To me, mindset is like a muscle. If you've spent your whole life, being told you're not a math person or you're just not creative, you start to believe that's a permanent wall. But the second you start hitting those small wins we talked about, that wall starts to crumble. Motivation is the tool that lets you start the workout. Once you see that effort actually leads to improvement, your whole perspective shifts from I can't do this to I can't do this yet. That's the real game changer.
Okay, thank you
Do you
so
think
much.
people get anytime? It was a trip diving into all that with you.
You shared a very valuable insights with my viewers today about the psychology of motivation. I really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us today in our show.
It was a blast. Seriously, thanks for bringing me on. I had a great time hashing this out with you. Catch you next time.
See you, inshallah. Dear viewers, motivation may inspire you to start, but consistency and discipline will help you to succeed. So stay in your life with the meaningful goals, believe in yourself, and take one positive step every day towards your dreams. That's about all about today's session. See you in the next episode soon. Till then, take very good care of yourself. Be healthy, keep learning, and make your every minute count. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.